folks. Thank you so much for tuning in today for another one of our mental health series. We are going to be talking about panic attacks today. If you're here, you may have had experiences with panic attacks, and if you're comfortable sharing about that, please comment down below on some of the things that you've done that have helped you to manage your panic attacks. When we come back, I'm going to show you one of the skills that I teach to start to manage it. There's several things that are involved with this, but the first part that we're going to get into is once again tying into diaphragmatic breathing or relaxation breathing, but we're also going to combine it with a new skill today. Stay with me now. Okay, thanks for staying with me. So if you're here you probably have dealt with panic attacks or you're currently dealing with panic attacks. And in the interest of self-disclosure, I don't mind talking about this because I think it helps people to, when you can share a little bit of your personal empathy for how awful something can be. In my 20s, struggled with severe daily, multiple times a day panic attacks. They were extremely stressful. And when it first started happening, even though I was getting training in the field at the time, it started when I was in between undergrad and graduate school. Actually, it might have started in undergrad, like the last year of undergrad. I had no idea what was going on. It was extremely distressing, and it wasn't until like first year of graduate school that I started to figure it out because of the classes that I was taking, and was able to mostly treat it myself. So I'm going to share with you how I did that. The prognosis for treatment for panic attacks is very good, in my opinion. You may go on the internet and research it a little bit, and some people may say that it's not. I disagree with that, and I will share some stuff with you that helped me and that I've used to help some of my patients. So, as I mentioned in the intro, if you're struggling with panic attacks or if you've struggled with them in the past and you've found some stuff to be helpful and you feel comfortable talking about it, please comment below. I think that we need to take the stigma out of mental illness and share with each other. I think that what works for one person may not necessarily work for the others. So having a variety of techniques in your personal toolbox for dealing with your stuff can be extremely helpful. So maybe I'll talk about first my experiences with panic attacks. So I was getting them predominantly when I was driving. And some of my subscribers here know me in my personal life. I was going to school in Massachusetts. I grew up in Massachusetts. And if you've driven up there, you know how crazy intense the highways are, specifically 93. It is wild. It is a free-for-all, and it is extremely scary. And I had to drive over an hour every day to graduate school. And it was a gold mine. I was going to make myself do this, but I was every day going through a panic attack on the highway. And if you know that stretch of highway, there's no way to pull over. You just have to keep pushing through it. Maybe that was helpful in a way because I had to face the demon, so to speak. But I sure wished there was a place that I could have pulled over. So after finally figuring out what this was, and I guess maybe let me pause here and describe what it is for people who may not have ever had a panic attack. So what happens with a panic attack is your body is having this physiological reaction that is fight, flight, or freeze based. Okay, so if you've never had a panic attack, imagine that if you stepped you're in a busy city, you stepped off the curb onto the street and then suddenly looked to your left and there's an 18-wheeler or a big rig about to bear down on you, what that would feel like inside your body. You get this massive surge of fear-based chemicals in your body, okay? And it's not necessarily always triggered by something. Mine were triggered by driving on the highway, but for many people they're not. And people have been known to even have them in their sleep. And it's terrible because it can be unpredictable. And over time, the person who's experiencing these may avoid more and more situations, may become even socially phobic, agoraphobic, because they want to stay in the safety and comfort of their own home where their anxiety can be managed a little bit better. But that gets the tendency to go towards isolating gets worse over time. So it's not the best coping skill to use, and we really don't want people to get entrenched in that isolating tendencies. So when you have it, right, you have this surge of probably adrenaline, noradrenaline, your fight, flight, or fear response. If you've ever experienced anything like that, you probably have an idea of what I'm talking about. Most people, it tends to last about 30 minutes. I have worked with patients who've had them last much longer than that, and that's a horrible thought. Most people at 30 minutes, it can feel like you're about to die. Your heart often is beating real fast. Your mind is going really fast, like a million miles a minute. Some people feel like it's hard to breathe. I would get almost like this really scary feeling of like tunnel vision that it's always hard to describe. Some people feel like if they don't know what it is, am I losing control? What's happening to me? Many people show up at the emergency rooms thinking they're having a heart attack with this because of the rapid heartbeat that can feel like that. So that's the best way I can describe it. It's not a good feeling at all. They're horrible. There are medications that help with this, but you also want to build your skills because the medications just kind of mask and numb what the symptoms and maybe make you a little bit less susceptible to it. But you want to have that skills to know what to do when it happens. So with my patients, what I do is I break this into like really two chances to intervene. Okay. The first is like the few seconds right before it goes into full-blown hormone neurotransmitter dump. You've got briefest amount of time, just a few seconds. And when you first try to catch it at that, it's really difficult. Over time, you can get to the point where you recognize it right before it's about to happen, and you can stop it or significantly lower the intensity of it. That's what we're going for, right? That's the goal. In the beginning, people have a hard time catching it because you have to know what to be looking for in your body to catch those first few seconds when you have the opportunity. If you don't, right? So that's the skill that we get into for that. I'm not going to do in this video. It's more complex. We're going to need a whole nother video for that. But basically, thought stopping and talking yourself out of it. I know if you're watching this and you don't know how to do this yet, you're thinking, yeah, there's no way, Sarge, you can't talk yourself out of it. You can, trust me, but it's not easy at first. It takes skill and practice. I need a whole nother video to show you that, and I promise you we will come back to that. Let's talk about what to do after the hormone and neurotransmitter surge that happens in the body. So once that has happened, it's like if you pounded a pot of coffee. It's in your bloodstream. Those chemicals are running through your brain. There's nothing you can do to suddenly make that stop, okay? So we got to manage it instead. We're going to manage that after that. I'm going to call it a hormone dump, okay, or a neurotransmitter dump, right? After that's happened, you have to go into damage control. So to do that, we do our diaphragmatic breathing, our relaxation breathing. I've got a whole nother video that I just uploaded. If you haven't seen that, please go into my mental health series playlist, watch that video, okay? Because I give it to you in much more depth, more explanation, and you need that to do this. But let's do quickly. Remember, to review, we do breathe in through the nose, slow it down. If you can get to a 4 count, that's great. That's what I'm aiming for. Pause at the top for a brief second. Breathe out through the mouth. Pause at the bottom. So 4 in, 1 second. Pause at the top. 4 out through the mouth. 1 second pause at the bottom. Okay, so what that's doing is I'm bringing your attention back to your breath, right? We're refocusing because we're trying to get, instead of feeling like oh God, I'm gonna die. We got to get this. Okay, we know what this is. Sarge told me this is a panic attack. We know what this is, and I'm gonna get this under control. I'm okay. I want you to say these things inside your head when you're going through this. I'm okay. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna go crazy. This is a panic attack. It's a temporary feeling, and yes, it will pass. Okay. By doing that self-talk, what you're doing is there's a relationship between our thoughts and our feelings and the good chemicals that our brain releases, the good neurotransmitters, the good hormones, and that's what I'm getting you by saying those things in your brain over and over again. As you do your diaphragmatic breathing, as you do your relaxation breathing, you are teaching your brain to start to release those neurotransmitters and starts to take the panic attack slowly down. Okay. First time you do this, you're going to be like, Sarge, you're full of, this doesn't work. Trust me, I need you to keep trying. The first time you do it, it may not work. Keep working at it. This is a skill that you have to build. The first time you got on your bicycle, unless you're a prodigy, you did not make it down the street. You fell, okay? We're learning to ride a different kind of bicycle here, and it's going to take some time, and you're going to have to practice it. And if you practice it and stick with this and keep doing these skills, you'll get better at it. And it will, what I think you'll start to notice, because I've had a lot of luck with my patients with this, is I'm telling you the prognosis for this is very good, is that over time, those panic attacks, maybe they don't last 30 minutes, and the intensity maybe doesn't come to here, it comes to here, right? And then over time, maybe it only lasts a couple minutes, and the intensity is on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe it's a 6. And then it gets to here. And then the next thing you know, you're going to say to your therapist, hey, I've been doing this thing, and I haven't had a panic attack in a full week. And then you're going to say, I haven't had a panic attack in a month. And then you're going to say, hey, I haven't had a panic attack in 2 months, and the last time I had one, it wasn't so bad. It lasted 5 minutes. It didn't get to a 10. I was able to talk myself through it, and I didn't have to take any medication. That's what we're going for, folks. So that's what I want you to work on right now. If you've got panic attacks, first of all, do that breathing. Watch that video if you haven't watched that video yet. You need that video. And then, and the next time this happens, I want you to remember what we talked about here, right? If you have to review it, then you review it. That's fine until you got it locked up here. You're going to do that breathing, and you're going to start to tell yourself these things. I'm okay. This is just a panic attack. I know what it is. It's a temporary feeling. I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to go crazy. And this will pass. Okay? Doing that's going to release those good neurotransmitters. That's all I got for today. I promise you I will get you another video talking about what to do in those first few seconds when you can recognize it before it gets to that neurotransmitter dump, before it gets to that hormone release, so that we can get to the point where we even maybe can stop it before it even gets to a 2 or a 3, right? So maybe you just get a little bit anxious, and this is kind of where I'm at after fighting these things off. 20 years later, I still kind of am susceptible to them. Maybe once or twice a year, I'll get like a little tiny panic attack, but I can get myself out of it really fast now. And I want you to be able to do that too, okay? All right. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button down below. It helps other people find this video. If you know somebody else who's got anxiety or panic, share this with them, okay? And if you're willing to share your story, what's been helpful for you, then comment down below. We got to take the stigma out of mental illness, folks. Thank you so much. You all have a good day.